Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Hey, today I'm going to answer a question that I get a lot, especially from people who probably know they'd really benefit from a refinance, but don't think that they would or are really nervous about it. And that question has to do with I took mortgage forbearance or I missed a couple payments in this thoroughly awful year that just ended 2020. So here's hoping for everybody that 2021 brings much better things. And the way that we get there is all being better to each other. So anyways, about this question, how long do I have to wait? And I'm going to answer for a refi first because that makes more sense. But this is basically the same answer if you just want to purchase a different home. There's some nuance there. But okay, so let's say that you took the mortgage forbearance in 2020. And first of all, I want to say there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that, especially if you were economically impacted, furloughed or whatever. It was way, way, way better for you to do that than for you to not pay other bills or stop doing any of the activities that are just necessary for your life. So anyways, if you took that, there are two different requirements that can get you to the point where you can do a refinance. So the harder / more traditional one is if you fully catch up on the payments, everything you owe. So of course, if either before the transaction or maybe even at closing, if we can catch you up on those payments, not using any of the funds from the new loan you're getting, then absolutely you can refinance even if you're sort of still deferred and haven't made the payment just this last month. Now, it's a different answer if you were actually late, but sort of circumstances in this last year have probably smiled upon you, but not necessarily. It's not a rule. So here's what I mean. If you didn't request forbearance, a lot of mortgage companies basically didn't report that you were late at all. So there is a decent chance that even if you have late payments, you might just be able to get a refi right now. In fact, a lot of mortgage servicers, and this is sort of up to them, may even report it as if you just went into a forbearance program. So if that's the case, that's great. You'll probably be able to just get a refinance right now. There is a small chance that the mortgage servicer you have goes out of their way or is specifically asked and just says that you're late. And that's not great. This isn't a super hard rule, but it's generally true. If you have a late mortgage payment in the last year, it's going to be pretty darn difficult to get a home loan. But that goes into a risk matrix in the case of a conventional, or a scorecard in the case of VA, USDA, FHA. And if your credit hasn't tanked while that happened, because that can entirely be the case. I mean, you really could have a missed mortgage payment in the last year and still have a 760 credit score. It's part of a whole risk matrix that'll have to do with, the down payment or the loan to value and everything else. But there is a really good chance you can still refinance even if you're late in the last year, especially, and this isn't, again, a hard rule, but it's in order to get a pass on the total risk profile, if you've made the last 3 payments, whether you were in forbearance or if you actually missed a payment, but if you've made the last 3 payments, and no, you're not allowed to cheat and just make 3 payments in 1 month. It has to be 3 regular monthly payments. There's a really good chance that you can refinance. And if you refinance, there is a very good chance that, especially if your loan is, from before not that long ago, second half of 2020, there's a really good chance your interest rate's going to go way down, maybe even if your credit score is a lot worse. I know that in the beginning of 2020, a sort of normal-ish interest rate for good credit, everything going great, was purchase was 3.5 to 3.75. And now, it's rates between 2.5 to 3 for the purchases, and probably like add 0.25% or so for the refinances, but that's a huge gap. You know, I was just talking to somebody recently who had to do the forbearance thing and had a 4% plus interest rate, and they're just gonna save a ton of money by doing the refi, and it'll get them on track so that all of their paperwork on their credit bureau and everything totally makes sense. Just a piece of general credit wisdom, and there are special rules around mortgages that may or may not make this apply. But one thing people don't understand or don't seem to understand in general on how credit scores are weighted is, so like, hey, you have a credit card and you've just had it for a while, it's worth a bunch of positive points as long as you don't have a high balance on it. But if you have a late payment, it pretty much permanently is a drag on your credit. And the way the credit bureau rates or puts weight on late payments, it sort of doesn't act like it's aging out or aging off to anywhere near the same degree if the account is still open. So I would suspect if there's anything wrong with your current mortgage and you really want to have great credit and have the most purchasing opportunities in the future, if you have any dings on your mortgage and you can get a better mortgage than that now, you should just jump forward and do it. That's my personal advice. It's what I tell family. It's what I would do myself. And if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out. But first, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. If you've already done both of those things and you still love this video, send it to somebody else so I can get some more love and knowledge around. Have an awesome day. Bye.